I remember I saw the news during breakfast that like Russia decided to stop the air traffic in Russia, and and then I saw Maxim Graf at the elevator, and I asked him like, well, what do you think what will happen? And his answer was, uh, I play Fabiano today with white or black, whatever. And I'm like, no. Like, did you see the news? No. And then I told him like the announcement, and then he said like, okay, so I expect that we don't play today.
Welcome, listeners, to another edition of the Let's Talk About Chess podcast. April is going to be the Candidate Storytellers Month in the podcast because, as you may know, on April 19, the second part of the 2020 Candidates Tournament will resume in Yekaterinburg in Russia. This month, I invite some guests who are involved in the event or can tell me something more about these special tournaments. Today, I have the pleasure to talk to my compatriot, the creative chess professional Lennart Ootes, who was present at the candidates last year and will travel to Russia soon for the second part. Welcome, Lennart.
Hey, Eric. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be on your show.
Yes, good to have you. You're still in. Where are you at the moment? You're not in Russia at the moment.
No, I'm still in Amsterdam, okay, where I'm based. I live here together with like two chess teachers, international masters. We share a flat here in Amsterdam. I'm traveling to Yekaterinburg on the 15th of April, only like 3 or 4 days before the start of the event.
Okay, so that's odd. You don't have to be in quarantine for 2 weeks or something?
No, at least nobody told me so. No, so there's still a lot of things we have to arrange, including my visa for Russia. But as far as I know, I don't have to go into quarantine or whatsoever. Of course, we will be tested throughout the event. But yeah, it will be kind of easy it should be easier for us to travel to Russia than, for example, to Norway.
Really? Okay, that's different. And do you already know how you're going to get there? Via Moscow, or do you have already?
Yeah, there's still some flights to Russia. So like I fly from Moscow to Yekaterinburg. It should be like a smooth flight, but you never know. Like flights can change or they could be cancelled. So I'm happy I will be there a few days in advance, so there won't be any stress there.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you're looking forward to it. I think it's a bit different than last year. Well, we'll talk about the candidates tournament in a second again. What have you been doing in the last year? You're very active. You work at chess tournaments as a photographer, but also not many people know it, for example, that you're doing some live transmission. You're arranging DGT boards and all kinds of other stuff. That's the thing you started with, right? In chess tournaments? Not with photography?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like I think I became like professional in chess in 2012, 2013. And one of the things I really like to do is like to operate the DGT boards, especially at like the rapid and blitz events where there's a little bit more tension and stuff. And I combine my work as a DGT operator with taking photos. So it hardly happens that I'm only a photographer at a chess event. And the candidates was actually one of the exceptions where I was only there as a photographer. But yeah, besides DGT boards and photography, I also co-produce live shows with chess.com, for example. So that's what I did in Wijk aan Zee, which is a way more technical thing to do. And besides that, yeah, sometimes I make some websites or some other creative stuff. But I would say that like DGT boards and photography are the two things I do the most in chess. And yeah, in the past year, unfortunately, there were only like a few events I could work for. I worked for Norway Chess. I worked for Seed Chess in Spain, some open tournament where I really wanted to take photos of people wearing face masks. I worked at Wijk aan Zee. And then hopefully after the candidates will be the Grand Chess Tour and Norway Chess, and like let's see what the second half of the year will bring. But I expect a lot of tournaments at least I hope there will be a lot of tournaments.
Yeah, sure. But what have you been doing when you're not traveling? You just said you build a website. I thought I saw a PogChess website, pogchess.com.
Mhm.
And you also worked on your own website, creating a very beautiful website with all your pictures and tagging the names, for example. This must have been quite a job, isn't it?
Yeah, so I have like a photo archive of like 35,000 photos taken over since 2012, and I have been able to to find all the original files of these photos. They were like on different hard disks somewhere around the place. So, like, there was a lot of like work to find out where everything was, and then I combined it and I started to tag players in all these photos. So if you go to chessphotoshop.com, you will find a list of all the players that I've been taking photos of, and you can find like the best photos of Magnus that I've been taking or other things. And it was like somehow in this lockdown I had a lot of time to organize my photo archive, I've been also like I saw that it was like a lot of like streaming going on. Like the streaming was booming in 2020. So I thought, okay, let's make like a website where you can find like the different chess streamers, and you can see which chess streams are live and all these kind of things. But like after a few months, I kind of stopped the project because like I wasn't really encouraged enough by the chess fans or something. Like the views were not that big, and maybe there was not really a market for such a website.
But there are a lot of players streaming at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. So like Twitch is of course like a great platform to find streamers.
Yeah.
And I was not sure if like pogchess.com would be the website where people would go to. And also like I had kind of like issues to, I like to make things. I like to create stuff, but I'm not very good in promoting it. So even like with my own work, with my photos or something, I'm like I'm not spamming the chess audience with my photos. So I just like the process of creating more than showing it to the world, and it's something I should change actually.
But in your photography work, well, it's kind of exclusive when you're not promoting it too much, perhaps, and as you said, spamming Twitter full of pictures of you, of course. Did you learn this last year or something in the photography to make better photographs in the future, even?
No, I, like if someone would have told me like, okay, like it's April 2020, and for the next year you won't go to any tournaments, and all you can do is like to invest in yourself to become a better person or to become a better photographer, I would have made different life decisions. But now I was just like, I got kind of lazy, in this lockdown situation. I didn't really watch any tutorials on photography or on chess or other things. The only self-improvement I did over the past year was tree check. And that's not something...
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah, tree check, and you're also streaming on Twitch, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I've had so much fun playing tree check over the past year that I wanted to give back a little bit to the tree check community. So I thought, okay, let's stream some of my tournaments for fun. I won't really call myself a streamer at all, and I don't think I will be streaming normal chess. But like to stream some tree check is some fun, and it's nice to show people how the game works.
Can you tell me in a few words what is tree check and how does it work? What are the basic rules?
Yeah, so it's normal chess with the exception that you can also win if you give three checks. So the first who gives three checks wins, but checkmate works, and stalemate is still a draw, and like threefold repetitions are still threefold repetitions. And it's it could be overwhelming at first, because like what's the main strategies, right, in tree check? And what I figured is that development and king safety are the two most important things in tree check. So that's kind of similar like normal chess. Mm-hmm. And so, you just start with one e4, and then you develop your two knights, and you try to develop your bishop, your castle, and then, of course, like it's important to have control over the center. So that's a different thing. So that's basically what you would do with white. But with black, oh yeah, you will, because like if you check with the computer, it's already like +2 or +3, like from the start. Like white should be winning. So with black, and the games last like on average, I would say like 20 moves.
Okay.
So with black, you have like very limited time to surprise your opponent. So on the beginner level, you will see that like a lot of black players, they will start to give a check as soon as they can. They play their knight from b8 to c6 to b4, take on c2 with check, and then, well, 2 checks to go. But that's not really the way to go. It's better to avoid your opponent to develop. So, for example, a knight would be better on d4 than on b4, because on d4 it blocks the d pawn to progress. And I started to train a little bit with the engine. There's like a modulated or like modified version of Stockfish that's just like really strong. So I started to find like all kinds of like nasty traps with black, and yeah, that's kind of like the trick with tree chess for me right now. Is like how to keep how to surprise your opponent with black.
Okay. So I should try it 3-check. That sounds pretty nice. Yeah, it's something different. Right?
Yeah, you can play it on chess.com and on Lead Chess. Okay. I'm not sure if other servers also have 3-check, but like it's an amazing game. It's very tactical.
Okay. So it should help improving my normal chess as well, perhaps.
Oh yeah. So for example, like in normal chess, if I watch a game or if I play a game online in normal chess, I'm very happy when I see a check. And like my pieces, they really start to work together. I start to play a little bit like Tal or like, I don't know, like some other players who are very into attacking chess. But like to mate someone is very hard for me nowadays. I see all the checks, but the mates, oh yeah, the king can just like move to the other side of the board after 10 checks, and I still didn't win. It's kind of like a cruel game.
Okay, yeah. Okay, sounds nice. So maybe not only for me, but also for the listeners to give it a try on Lead Chess or chess.com to play 3-check. And to watch your stream, maybe we can learn also something from your game.
Yeah. So like all my social media and streams are just on like /Lennart Ootes. So Twitter, YouTube, or Twitter, Twitch, Instagram. You find me just on my normal name.
Okay, so you do some promoting you as well right now.
Yeah.
Maybe it helps a bit. That's great. Okay, let's go back a bit to 2020 last year, to the candidates tournament. Did you have some second thoughts when traveling to Russia at the time, because it was played in March, wasn't it? End of March. Did you have thoughts like, well, I'm not going because of the pandemic?
No, I felt very privileged to be able to go to the tournament, because of course like COVID was spreading in Europe a lot. So like in Amsterdam, we were about to start a lockdown when I left. And so I was traveling to Yekaterinburg, which is not the main city in Russia. So like I think like also like in Moscow, the virus was already there. But in Yekaterinburg, I had the feeling that the virus was not as well spread as in other parts in Europe or the US. So I felt that like I could safely be there for 2 weeks compared to like wherever I would be, like in Amsterdam, for example. And but like one thing I look back at is like the opening ceremony. I guess you have seen the images.
Yes, I just wanted to talk. It's quite a shocking picture. I think people were shocked to see this picture of the opening ceremony, right?
Yeah.
It was in a big theater, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like an orchestra hall.
Yeah,
it was like
people.
Yeah, like I just looked it up. Like the total capacity is like 5,000. I think there were like 3,000 or 3,500 people in that room, and this is something that I actually look back to with like mixed feelings, because my government, the Dutch government, was not really in favor of face masks by that time.
Mm-hmm.
Now they changed, like in public transport or in shopping malls, you have to wear your face mask. But back then, the prime minister said, like, nah, face masks, just keep your distance. That's enough. Mm. So I was like in this room with like 3,500 people not wearing a face masks. And yeah, for me, it was so natural not to wear a face mask. But like looking back, I'm like, okay, dude, you were so stupid. And I think like only Yifan Hao was wearing a face mask on the, and you clearly saw it on the photos because like she was like on the front row. None of the players did go to the opening ceremony, which was, by the way, like a beautiful event with like opera singers, ballet dance. Like I really enjoyed this big opening ceremonies in Russia, but I should have wore a face mask there. And if there's a new opening ceremony, I will definitely will.
Okay. And how was the daily life then in Yekaterinburg for you? Or did you have to wear a mask then in the city, or could you go shopping or whatever? Were there any limitations right there?
No, not at all. So it was like, like once I went to like a shopping mall, I wanted to buy something at H&M, and I just had to sneeze. So I walked like to the corner of the room or something, and I started to sneeze. But then exactly at that moment, a Russian guy passed by. So I sneezed all over him. and the guy, he didn't care. He didn't even look up to me like, dude, do you know what's going on? Okay. So I don't think that the people were very aware of COVID. Fortunately, like all the staff in the hotel were wearing masks, but there was not like like nobody told me, for example, that I had to wear a mask. Mm. So I got close to the players without wearing a mask, and that's kind of odd. And I think this will change for the second stage of the tournament, but I'm not 100% sure. I haven't seen any COVID regulations or something for the tournament.
But how was it then that I will talk to him in the next episode? Leonzo Garcia, the Spanish chess journalist, he went also to Yekaterinburg, but he only saw his hotel room because he had to stay in quarantine. How does that match then? Because you could move around, but he had to stay in a hotel room.
Yeah, I think like
because he came from Spain or something, or
exactly. Yeah. So I'm sure he knows all the rules, but like the pandemic was big in Europe, in Italy and Spain at that time, and somehow the Russians, they made like a ban for Spaniards to at least like they made quarantine rules for them for Spaniards and Italians to travel to Russia, and somehow I guess he ignored it, and he just went, and by coincidence I think like he was like released from his hotel room on the day that the tournament was stopped.
Yeah, which is actually, we are recording this on the 27th, exactly 1 year ago. 27th of March was the travel ban from Russia. So it must have changed something during the tournament. The awareness of the Russians that the COVID was pretty serious, and then they decided to stop the tournament, didn't they?
Yeah, there was like one very specific change in the Russian rules that stopped the tournament, and that was that the Russian government, they announced like, okay, like from tomorrow or from today, I don't remember, we will stop all the air traffic to and from Russia. Mm-hmm. And that, I think that forced FIDE to stop the event. And this is also something like I don't have all the information. I don't know what they tried, to still organize the second part of the tournament back in 2020, in March, April, because I'm not so sure if we really had to leave Russia at that specific day. Somehow it was like a very natural moment because we were halfway the tournament. But my girlfriend, she's a flight attendant, and a few days after I came back to the Netherlands, she was flying from Qatar to Moscow. So it's not that like the entire flight, it's not that all the flights were stopped, and like half of the players went back with a private plane, and maybe we could have arranged that also 1 week later.
Yeah.
I guess, but okay, I don't know all the information. I don't know why FIDE decided to stop it at that specific moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, at least like now we're in some kind of mess that we have to finish the tournament 1 year later with like different circumstances.
Yeah, we come back to that in a second. But how was it when you heard this announcement and okay, we have to stop the tournament tomorrow? There will be no more flights from Russia because that was the official announcement, I think. So what happened then? I saw that players were preparing for their game on the same day, and they got the information. Okay, the tournament will be stopped today, and then Anish Giri, for example, took the next possible plane to Amsterdam, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like I remember I saw the news during breakfast that like Russia decided to stop the air traffic in Russia, and then I saw Maxime Vachier-Lagrave at the elevator, and I asked him like, well, what do you think what will happen? And his answer was, I play Fabiano today with white or black, whatever. And like, no. Like, did you see the news? No. And then I told him like the announcement, and then he said like, okay, so I expect that we don't play today. and then it was like kind of like confusing for the first 2 hours because there was not a big delegation of FIDE in Yekaterinburg. So like Dorkovic, I think like he was not in Yekaterinburg. No. So it was kind of hard, like who was in the lead and how will we go back? And I think like Anish, he thought, okay, like I don't want to wait for others. Let's just take the first plane back home. And that's what he did together with Erwin. And but like to us, the organizers told us like, yeah, we will arrange transportation and stuff. And then it took some hours before they finally confirmed that we will go back with a private plane. And I've never been in a private plane before. So I was like, I was kind of like excited. But then like we had to kill like a lot of time. And so I think like first they said like, yeah, it will be at 8 p.m. or something. And then we were at dinner and it would be later again. And like at some point, I think they announced it would be at 2 or 3 a.m. or something. Because like they couldn't get the rights to land in the Netherlands because the flight was going to Rotterdam airport. So it was like Fabiano, Maxime, me, Jeroen, Peng.
Yeah,
and I think like
Jeroen van den Berg, sorry for interrupting, was the head of the appeal committee at the time, wasn't he? Jeroen van den Berg is the main organizer of the Tata Steel tournament, and Peng Tao Quinn was did the Chinese commentary, but she also lives in the Netherlands. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And then you had like Leoncio Garcia, who
they dug him out of his hotel room, and he could also. Okay.
Yeah, the first time I saw him was actually like at the airport. But like because like this flight was like delayed more and more, we started to drink a little bit in the nightclub in Yekaterinburg. And you asked me like, okay, like how was daily life in Yekaterinburg? And like when I arrived, this nightclub was like operating as normal. And there I was like, I had like, of course, like 1 or 2 drinks too many. And I was like, you know what, I will take a nap. So I went back to my room. And then the next thing I knew was like I woke up, I was looking at my phone and I saw like a phone call from Jeroen van den Berg. And I was like, what's going on? It's like, yeah, we have to leave right now. So apparently they were waiting for me to go to the airport. And I was like, oh my God. So I had already packed some stuff, but like some part not. So like I really had to pack my stuff, and like was like incredibly hangover on this flight. But so it was like a weird day when they announced it.
Yeah. And that's also, you took some pictures then at that day from the playing hall where they is it as a moment where you think that it's a professional thing, this is a part of history, I have to take some pictures, or is it just how do you think at that moment?
Yeah, there were like these moments where they were already stripping the playing hall. They were taking down all the big banners and stuff. So I really felt like, okay, this photo has like news value. So let's take these photos. And like also like I still had some stuff in one of the rooms, and this room was locked, and there was like this sticker that they sealed all the photos with a small sticker, and the date was on this sticker. Like, so I remember it was something like 25th of March, and I was unable to open the door. So like then like different hotel staff had to come to finally open the door. But yeah, it was it was nice to bring some photos that are unusual. You know, like in chess, at least like in my photo archive, you will only see photos in the playing hall. I hardly take photos of players outside of the playing hall. And there's one photographer that I really like. I think his name is Misha Friedman.
Mm-hmm.
And he has been taking photos at some women's world championship matches in Russia, and maybe also in China. And he has like this amazing behind the scene photos that I really like. And so maybe for the next, for the next half of the candidates, I will try to take more behind the scenes photos that are a little bit more dramatic. But yeah, we will see.
Okay, it's always difficult, of course, to tell a story with chess photography. Do you also look at other sports, for example, to create something, to create a story which is also usable in chess?
Not so much. I have some photography books of other sports,
Mm-hmm.
but I must say that I'm not really overwhelmed by the quality of these photos, and maybe that's also because I've never tried to take photos of other sports.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how difficult it is. I think fencing is very interesting to take photos of. I've never done it, but like I like to see those photos. But like you don't, like in chess, you don't have the speed, you know. So it's like it's this raw emotions on the player's face at decisive moments of the game. That is something that I really look for in chess, and in other photos, like in other sports. Yeah, there's so much emotion during the game that it's hard to, you know, it's hard to compare with chess, I would say.
Yeah, it's difficult to tell a story, right? But
Yeah,
you try.
But sometimes
yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, because like sometimes like I take photos at the start of the round, and somehow I can feel a little bit which player is in a good shape that day, or is in a bad shape, or like who wants to pull up a fight, or like I kind of at least like I feel that I have the sensibility a little bit for what will happen on a specific day. And sometimes I just take photos and I just don't feel anything, and I'm like, okay, I think this is going to be a boring round. And sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. But like that's something that I try to do a little bit, and especially like with Magnus, I can feel a little bit if he's in a good mood or bad mood, and how the game will go.
Okay, and is it also different to take pictures at a candidates tournament? Is there then say a normal tournament like Tata Steel or Grand Chess Tour? Is it a different tension in the tournament? And is it difficult for you, or is it different for you as a photographer to make pictures?
Well, the candidates, at least in my opinion, is the most interesting tournament of the 2-year cycle. Because the stakes are so high and the players are so well prepared. They're prepared for months and they know that this is the tournament, you know. And in contrary to a World Championship match, there's a lot of like amazing games each day, and there's always like decisive results in the candidates. So yeah, that makes the candidates the most interesting tournament for me, and I think it's very hard to show that in photos, to be honest. I haven't really found the right trick to find this tension. And in Yekaterinburg, it was also hard for me to take good photos because I want to stay away from the players a little bit. At least like I don't want to get very close to the players. And in some other tournaments pre-COVID, it was easier to get close to the players. So I even bought like a new lens, like a telephoto lens, so I could take photos from more far away. So I will use that in the second turn.
Is it also more difficult to make pictures with players wearing a mask?
Yeah, should be. Yeah, I only have experience with that at the Chess Open tournament in Barcelona, or like near Barcelona, and there I was very happy to take photos of people wearing masks because I really want to document this this era. But I'm not sure if like the players will wear a mask actually in Yekaterinburg. And in Wijk aan Zee, I hardly took any photos, so I don't really have experience with that.
Okay, so you're still not really sure what's going to happen in Yekaterinburg with you.
No.
You arrived quite late, actually, as you said. Let's talk a bit about the tournament, the second part of the tournament. At the moment, Vajela Graf and Nepomniachtchi are leading the pack, 4.5. What are your thoughts? Who's going to make it? There are some players, of course, Caruana, Geri, Wang Hao, and Krishuk with 3.5. They still have chances. And I think the 8th round is going to be very crucial, which is the first round in Yekaterinburg. Faché playing
Maxime. Yeah, he's playing Fabiano.
Fabiano White against Maxime, and we have Nepomniachtchi against Giri.
Yeah,
I think that's a crucial round, isn't it?
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, and then like in the it's possible that like after the first round we will have everybody back at +1 or like 50% or something like that. So we have to see what happens, like it's so hard to say who is in a good shape or like who will be well prepared. And of course, like we're gonna look at like what Maxime did in Wijk aan Zee, where he didn't play well at all, and Fabiano got a lot of interesting games actually from that tournament. And you have like Anish and Nepo who just played like in this Magnus Carlsen Invitational final. I think like everybody who's on 50% or more can win the tournament. And that's also like something amazing about sports. There's always upsets.
Yes, of course.
Maybe Alexenko was not ready for it in 2020, but maybe he worked super hard throughout the year, and now he's like an elite player. We actually don't know. Like he has been hiding.
Yeah.
So and what about Ding? I mean, like most likely he cannot win the tournament, but like everybody should be scared of him, I guess, to play. And also because he has nothing to lose, I think it's a very dangerous opponent.
Okay.
And there's so many storylines.
Okay. I think one of the dark horses may be Wang Hao, because I haven't heard of him for over a year almost. He hasn't played
still alive?
I don't know. Well, I guess so, but you hardly see any games of him. He's not playing online tournaments or something.
I must say that like he was like together with Grishuk, he was they were like the two players who were most vocal in stopping the tournament. They really didn't enjoy their time in Yekaterinburg, I guess. So I don't know what Wang Hao's mindset will be in the second half. Of course, he's a fantastic player. So he could be a dark horse, but I think like for him it depends if he's like mentally ready to fight. Yeah,
yes. It's very difficult. It's very hard to tell. It's always with those candidates tournaments, isn't it? It's always very exciting. You visited some more candidates tournaments, Berlin, I think, and
I went to Berlin. I went to London, 2013. And let's see. I think like one more.
There was one more in Moscow and one more in.
The one. I skipped the Khanty. So I went to the one in Moscow as well. That Karyakin won. Yeah, it's just like those are just so many amazing events with so much tension and storylines, and like to have like this shot to play Magnus in a World Championship match. It would be great, and like who knows, like maybe the winner of this tournament could be the new world champion.
Yes, of course. Yeah, it's going to be very exciting, I think. And a world championship match, who do you think who would be the best opponent for Magnus, or the most difficult one?
It was,
And then not the one who maybe wins.
yeah,
Vasiliev has good chance to win it, but he may not be the worst opponent for Magnus.
yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think like Fabiano is like incredibly strong, right? So without a doubt, Fabiano would definitely have another chance in his match. But then you have like Nepo, who there's something between Magnus and Nepo. You know, like I guess they have been friends for a long time. They know each other. Sometimes at tournaments, I see them joking even during the game. And Nepo became like such a strong player. So yeah, why could Nepo not win a match
Sure.
against Magnus, right? But then, what is the time control in the World Championship match? I don't like Nepo. He likes to play fast.
Mhm.
You know, like you don't want to see games where Nepo has like 3 hours on his clock, right? After move 40.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
it will also be the challenge maybe for him to play a match. And then Anish, there's like also he also has this weird chemistry with Magnus, but more in an annoying way.
Mhm.
There will be a lot of like trash talking, I guess. But I think Anish would make Magnus very aware that he wants to win the match. Like, I don't think Magnus wants to lose against Anish more than anyone else.
Okay, it would even motivate him even more, perhaps. Yeah. in that match.
Exactly. Yeah, but yeah, as a Dutchman, it would be nice, of course, if Anish
Sure.
could make the match. And like Ding, I mean, like okay, he will most likely not win the candidates, but like Ding is also extremely strong, and I think like very hard to prepare against.
Yeah, it's difficult. We will see. I'm looking forward to it. You're also looking forward to travel to
absolutely.
Russia now? What are you looking forward to the most?
I like these weird experiences, and like I like traveling a lot. I like visiting places I would never visit if I would be a tourist. And Yekaterinburg is actually would be one of those places. It's actually it's like a nice city. There's like this big lake in the city center where you can walk around. I thought the people were kind of friendly. So that's something I'm looking forward to actually travel, to go away, to be like in a new place. And I have to be very careful because I know that in Russia things are opening up more and more. Like I saw there were already like hockey games with spectators. I saw there were concerts with spectators. I think I will stay away from these things, but it will be interesting to see how Russia is dealing with with the current situation 1 year later. It will be very interesting actually to see that.
Yeah.
And I don't know like how many what percentage of the population has been vaccinated there.
I was wondering, will you get Sputnik on arrival or not?
Yeah, so I don't know. Like I saw this interview with Djokovic where he said that like the players could get a vaccine if they want to.
Okay.
But yeah, it will not give any protection during the event, I guess. But if so, like right now, like the European Union has a Sputnik vaccine under review. So if they actually approve it before the start of the tournament, then well, maybe it's an option to take that vaccine instead of like waiting for months to get my shot in the Netherlands.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay. So you said you're going just a few days before the tournament starts, and where can we then see your work?
This is a good question. Yeah,
because I think a lot of people are going to watch the tournament through your lens, so to speak.
Yeah.
And
yeah, of course of course it will be just like the live streams, right? I think like there's going to be like an official live stream from FIDE, I guess, and then like I think like chess.com also has the rights to broadcast the event with video. So my photos, where will they be? I think just on the official website, which I guess is something something like candidates-2020.com or something like that.
I will check it. I will put it in the show notes.
The best way is just like to follow the FIDE Twitter account or Facebook accounts and my own accounts. I don't know exactly where they will be. But yeah, for sure you will. If you follow the candidates, you will see my photos for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, we're looking forward to it, and I wish you already safe travels to Russia in a couple of weeks' time, and we're looking forward to your pictures and maybe to your stories. If there's something going on, something special, then maybe we should contact you again and do another podcast.
Oh yeah,
after the tournament. Maybe there's something going on. Okay.
Yeah, that will be cool.
Okay. Lennart, thank you very much for your time. It was a great pleasure talking to you today about the candidates tournament. And as I said, safe travels and enjoy your time in Russia.
Oh, thanks for having me, Eric. Good luck.
Thank you. Dear listeners, I hope you enjoyed this interesting conversation about 3 Czech chess, the candidates tournament and photography with Lennart Ootes. It is the first in the series of the candidate storytellers, because the biggest tournament of the year will resume in April 2021. I have met Lennart on several occasions, and I can still remember that we had a great time in Chennai 2013 during the World Championship there. I will put up some links to Lennart's website and social media in the show notes. Subscribe to the podcast if you want to hear more conversations with people from the world of chess. If you have any questions or remarks, send me a tweet at chessclassic or write a mail to talkingchess@gmail.com. My name is Erik van der Reem. I will be back soon with another special episode about the candidates tournament in the podcast Let's Talk About Chess. Stay healthy, stay safe, and keep on playing chess. Bye bye.